Hey everyone, this is Dark Oh, okay. Seriously, guys. That stopped being funny years ago. Okay, now as I was saying. Okay, are you done? Are you done? Okay, let's just get right into this. The script. A wise man once said that the first script you write will always kind of suck, and I agree with that. Or maybe I just really suck at this. Anyway, rewrites in collaboration can really polish a script. If the screenwriting page number running time ratio is to be believed, one page equals 1 minute, then the current script would have a length of about 35 minutes, which is good considering I have a habit of stretching things out with dialogue and padding and dialogue. I mean, if the dialogue was really good, not just average, maybe it would be bearable. Alright, in all fairness, I was working with about two halves of a whole movie that I decided to split up into two parts. Episode 31, with some retweaking here and there, the script will have a approximate running time of about 50 minutes. Well, it's not an hour and a half, but it's still longer than episode 29. That isn't a problem, right? I mean, most of it is character interactions. A lot of it's character interactions with a couple of action scenes. And yes, the action scenes are important to the plot and not just for the sake of action, explosions, epic. Anyway, I worked on this episode. I worked on the story with Sam, the voice of Eddie Brock and various characters. By that I mean two characters other than Eddie Brock. So some of the broader elements of the episode were done in collaboration, and by the next episode it'll probably be co-scripted. I don't know, whatever. Animation. I filmed a number of scenes already, and I'm taking a lot of care in regards to the animation. I've noticed that just a still picture of a character whilst digitally moving the image with a voiceover is not very engaging or entertaining. So to make the dialogue scenes just a bit more enjoyable to watch, I've implemented more dynamic camera angles and movements, not just over-the-shoulder shot, reverse shot, and whatnot. I'm also filming more animation for a scene and trying harder to sync up the animation with the dialogue. The easiest way to do this is to animate one scene over a number of days, and not just animating a number of scenes in one day. Filming might take longer, but judging by the scenes already filmed, the animation has had a huge improvement in terms of lighting and fluidity. Equipment. I don't remember if I stated this before, but I recently purchased a remote control for my camera. I bought it during the filming of the RoboCop video. The remote allows me to take a picture without touching the shutter button on the camera. Why would I not want to touch the shutter button? Well, if anyone else actually uses the shutter button on their camera, you'll notice that the camera moves just a tiny bit while it's on the tripod, and that tiny bit of movement translates into small jittery movements in between each frame when you run it all together. So it creates this unintentional shaky effect when you're actually watching the video. In my experience, this also messes with the lighting in each frame and creates light inconsistencies. So also when you run it through each frame, it creates this unintentional flashing. You'll have a couple of frames, or at the very least a majority of frames, that have about the same tone within each frame, and then you have a couple of frames where it seems like the ISO was jacked up just a tiny bit, and you may have top-notch animation, but if you have shaky movements and light inconsistencies, it's not going to matter. It's such a jarring shift from the audience, from the viewer's perspective, that they can't focus on the animation because those things work against whatever sort of effect you're going for in a scene. That's what I had to work with, and that was extremely difficult. And that's what I'm trying to avoid on future projects. And this is another reason why I had to reject certain shots or frames in episode 30, because it was so distracting that it was just unwatchable. If you're working with a smaller camera and a sturdy tripod, this will be less of a problem. But for the last, say, 3 years or so, my tripod has remained the same, while my cameras have been progressively getting larger. Each purchase, I get a larger, more powerful camera. it was inevitable, really. More recently, I've purchased a Wacom tablet. This allows me to draw with more ease on my computer. I can create digital storyboards that I can just, breeze right through. So I know what I'm doing and not just taking out all these pieces of paper, and just trying to recreate what I see on the paper, but I can just browse through it on my computer, on my laptop, which would be right next to me, and I can just animate the scene. It's much easier, and I can also see if I can get into mouth animation because I can draw easier. I'll see, not a promise. At the very least, I can go for better facial expressions with the eyes and the eyebrow, something I already experimented with on the RoboCop video as well. So that video is all about experimenting. Music. I've been experimenting a lot with the music on episode 31. It's probably also one of the reasons why it's taking so long. So I want to have established melodies for certain characters in certain tones and certain situations that are distinctive. So when distinctive melodies that can be reprised in certain episodes. I already have a theme for a certain villain that's going to be appearing soon. And I also made a theme, and I feel really proud of this theme for Spider-Man and for Peter Parker. It's not like the best melody ever because I'm not a composer. I'm not a music writer. This is not my strength. This is something I had to push myself to do to avoid copyright notices because they were, in this day and age, it's getting extremely dangerous to do that. Or, I'm sorry, extremely risky doing that. So I forced myself to become something of a musician, and I'm extremely amateurish. I'm the amateur of amateur when it comes to this. So when you hear the melody, it sounds very basic, but I promise you, you will, or most of you will, it will grow on you. And I guess you can say that about anything, but this isn't incredibly bad. It's just the best I can do with my limited range of knowledge and musical talents and whatnot. I guess I can upload soon, like just a piano rendition of the melodies I've created for Peter and Spider-Man, and see how you guys think about that. Just like a sketchbook of what I had planned or what I've already done with other instruments on symphonic orchestra. If you guys think that's cool, go ahead and let me know, and I'll just see if I can just play something for you, then upload it and see what you guys think. Because I'm really, really happy about this score, because I just didn't want to use, Danny Elfman's melody or James Horner's melody, or whatever Hans Zimmer is doing for The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and Pharrell. He's also working on that. So, I can play both of those. I can play James Horner's melody. I taught myself how to play it. I've been playing Danny Elfman's melody for the last 10, 12 years or whatever, so I know them by heart. But I wanted to do my own. And they kind of sound similar to it because, we're working for the same character, and it has that sort of feel to it. I guess I can work in more percussions because Spider-Man seems like a character that would invoke that sort of sound because of his erratic movements as he's jumping around, swinging around. That's something Danny Elfman has done. A lot of drums and everything. James Horner, some of that. I would have preferred if Hans Zimmer used more drums for Spider-Man than Man of Steel. It fits because of the way the movie's directed and all those action scenes, but you get what I'm trying to say. That's just a process I'm going through right now. Well, that's about it. Stay tuned for an up-and-coming Brickbits video I have in the works. It is a Back to the Future Brickbits video, and if you didn't know, I'm a fan of Back to the Future. But this is a nice segue. If you actually watch some of the commentaries on the past episodes that I've posted, then you know I'm a Back to the Future fan. I'll possibly have another Batman video. I don't know. I'm really cautious about that because of the Batman saturation that people are feeling nowadays, but whatevs. I'm still writing it, so I don't know how it's going to turn out. I'll have a link in the description so you can listen to those commentaries if you want to. Those commentaries give a lot of insight to how I made the episode, my process of making that particular episode, and I would recommend watching the more recent ones with me and Sam, with Sam and I, because those are the most fun. Commentaries are a lot of fun to record with more than one person, and if you want to record commentaries or do updates, I'd recommend doing it with more than one person because it's fun. You can have a nice back and forth, especially if you're working on it with someone else, so you guys can both have like this conversation to your subscribers. That's something I recommend. This is The next update will probably be more than one person. Hopefully, I can get that going. So that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for being patient with me. I'm not, hiding from you guys on purpose. I mean, to be fair, I don't have much of an ego, and I'm pretty much a pretty shy guy in real life. So I get kind of anxious about this kind of stuff. Like, oh God, they're gonna hate this. Oh God, I suck at this, or I don't know how this is gonna turn out. But thank you guys for being patient with me. I'm just trying. I want this to be really, really entertaining, so I'm taking the necessary steps. And in this comment, in this update, I'm explaining those necessary steps to make so I can improve upon myself, so I don't stagnate. Because the worst thing you can possibly do is just be crap for 5 years and not push forward or improve or learn anything. And I've certainly learned a lot, and I hope you can see in places where I've improved. Once again, thank you. Thank you guys for being patient.